Hello, hello, hello. How's everybody doing today? It's time for a podcast. As usual, I have a special guest this week.
You do not have a special guest, you fat ass.
I mean,
fuck
you haven't been on in like 4 fucking weeks. You're basically a special guest.
I'm kind of a special guest, you asshole.
Some of us actually show up to this, Josh.
Well, I had to go and do a lot of travels, okay,
Yeah.
and grow the business and make it
You
stronger.
had to go find a lot of corners.
And I did that.
One stripper at a time, right?
I actually did not spend $1 on a stripper when I was in Vegas. To be honest, like no lies.
I'm proud of you.
Yep, I was at a strip club for like 3 hours and did not pull $1 out of my pocket.
Nice. Glad to see you support the local economy of Vegas.
Well, I did that at the tables. So.
Okay. Did it hit up the casinos a little bit?
I did. I stayed at Aria, and
How was it? How was the hotel?
The
rooms looked great from you and Stefan's photos.
Yeah, the room's great there. I had comps, so because I'm a war hero on paper, I have my military status, so they put that on my card, and so then I get comps every X amount of months, I think, and so I use those.
That's dope.
Yeah, and so that was cool, and I ended up paying for the trip by playing blackjack.
Nice.
Yeah, I was like,
good at blackjack?
Yeah, I like fucking bankrupted Vegas.
Heck yeah. I was gonna ask how you did the craps table, but apparently you didn't. Apparently you didn't have enough time to be there. You were just raking in all the money.
I didn't. Like every time.
I bet they had the cameras on you.
Nah.
They had the men in black suits standing behind you.
No, I think the most I won playing blackjack was like $500. But you could only play $25 hands, right?
Oh.
So every single hand was 25, and I was like, God damn it, that's too rich for my blood. Like I want to play like single deck $5 blackjack hands, So basically, I was playing like 5 hands, essentially for me, because I don't like to gamble that much. But yeah, I don't know. I just ended up winning, and it paid for the trip, and so I was a happy man.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. We did get to go to some restaurants. And have some delicious food, but like we went to the buffet. I think I went to the buffet in Aria like 3 times.
My friend Ian keeps trying to get me to go to what's the casino in Detroit, the big one?
MGM.
I think so.
Yeah, downtown Detroit. MGM is their buffet is.
It's like $23. He said it's got like all you can eat crab.
Yeah, it's outstanding. Like that's what I did. I should have pulled up some pictures for those of you not on SoundCloud listening, but I should have pulled up some pictures for our Twitch viewers and YouTube viewers. Show you guys the crab, and it was a whole plate of crab.
Oh, did you take pictures of it?
Yeah, with 2 slices of pizza on top.
Oh,
It was,
sounds great.
Yeah, it's a fat man's wet dream. So, but yeah, the buffet I just couldn't stop going because like it has everything you need. Like what
Pizza and crab. What more do you need, Josh?
Yeah, pizza, crab, and then you can even you could get curry if you want, like curry chicken if you want to.
I love curry.
Yeah. So it was pretty wild. It was cool, but yeah, the trip, like Vegas went great. The week before that, I haven't been on in this is 2 weeks, right? Or is this 3 weeks?
No, this is 3 weeks.
Woof.
Because you missed the one. You were in Chicago.
Yep.
You were in Vegas, and then you were in Vegas.
Okay.
Or you were in Chicago again, basically.
Yes.
No, you were in Vegas on Monday, right?
Yeah, I was in Vegas.
You were in Vegas on Monday, yeah.
Yeah, so Vegas was I was there for 6 days. I wanted to take, because the GP was modern and limited, yeah. And so I wanted to take a couple days after the GP to decompress and like go out and spend some time. And like usually I don't do that for myself, and so now that like I'm a little more established, I guess you would say. Like I can actually like afford to stay a couple extra days. Like before, when I was just grinding and hustling pennies on the floor, I couldn't stay those couple extra days. But then I ended up playing blackjack and just paying for my weekend. So
you're like,
worked out perfect.
Perfect.
I mean, it probably won't happen like that again.
Did you pour one out on Monday for your boy Faithful Shooting?
So yeah, I missed the boat on that, and I have a great story for you guys. It's not really that great. It's a sad story. Yeah, little pat on the back. I picked up a play set of um, Stoneforge Mystics, and all 4 of them were foil.
Were they OG pack foils or were they
Yeah,
the
they were
promo?
OG pack
Okay.
foils. And I picked them up in a trade. I traded out 3 pieces of power to one gentleman for basically most of his collection that he had left over. He kept all of his decks and all that stuff, so he still had a lot of stuff. Super nice guy, and he just wanted to off like his modern stuff and his what he had left of legacy and some of his standard stuff, and so he just turned it all into power. Well, he had 4 foil Stoneforge Mystics, and so I picked them up, and I'm like, man, there's an unbanning coming, and I was like, God, these would be great to have, just in case they unban it. And I wasn't really thinking about the extra value I would get out of it from the unban, but just to have them because people will need them because
they'll be hot.
Yeah, I mean, even like we like when there's an unban, a lot of times Stoneforge Mystic in the past year, 2 years, they dry up in our area. Like in Michigan, they just dry up because everybody was waiting for the moment to be like, okay, Stoneforge is unbanned. I talked to a lot of people that are like, okay, I bought my copies. The unban's coming next month. Like, hopefully they do it this time. And so, like, I just wanted to bring them home and, get them to somebody. But I thought to myself, like, God, they won't unban that thing. And I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to off them. I'm going to off them to somebody here. And I did. And that was on Saturday. I moved them. So I moved them at, who knows what I moved them at. I probably picked them up at 50s and moved them at like 60s or something like that. Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, there wasn't much of a bump on there. And Monday morning rolls around and I'm like, Stoneforge unbanned. And I didn't even think about the trade until like later in the afternoon. The guy messaged me and he was like, hey, looks like you made a killing on my Stoneforge Mystics. And I'm like, actually, I didn't, bub. I offed them that day, so fuck me. We both lost. So
we both rolled snake eyes on this one.
Yeah, so we both we both didn't win, but somebody else won, and that would be Connor Salinas. Wait, let me make sure I got his name right. I think that's his last name. Connor, is that your
who
last
picked
name?
Up the Stoneforge?
I did. I traded him to Connor over at Good Games, which I dealt with them in Vegas. I dealt with them all weekend, and by them I mean him. They're an Australian outfit, and
Crikey.
yeah, they actually have like 3 Australian guys like in the booth. So Connor always.
Do they actually have the accent?
Yeah, they do.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, Connor's last name is Salinas. Yeah, okay. I had it right. Yeah, so over at Good Games, I deal with Connor all the time. He's great. He always hooks it up and gets me what I need. So if you guys are ever in the market and you're at a GP, I'd highly recommend you guys go see that guy because I bring other people that have businesses, online businesses just like myself, over to see him because they have the best prices and the best trade-in value. So check them out.
Mom's Basement Games approved.
Yep, the thumbs up. So thank you, Connor. I appreciate you. But yeah, other than that, the Chicago was great. I went and dealt with pastimes like usual. I gave them a lot of good cards and I gave them a lot of bad cards, and they took it all.
The highs and the lows.
Yeah, they took everything from my quarters to my $100 bills. So always love doing business with those guys, and I actually had to spend the night in Chicago, and we were trying to go out to see the Bean, get a picture with the Bean, but we didn't get a chance. We were so goddamn tired, getting prepped. Cause
did you just stay at your sister's house?
Yep, I stayed at my sister-in-law's house. She lets us come and stay with her every time we go to Chicago, so that's great. And got to see her and her little corgi. She's got a corgi puppy.
Dude, corgis are the best.
I hate the corgi puppies.
All right, you're canceled. I'm bringing Steve back on.
Listen, they are cute as hell because they don't have tails. So just like there's like this little nub inside of where their butt's at, and it just goes.
It's great.
Yeah, no, they're cute. And then, but hers is just a monster.
Oh, really?
Yeah, an absolute monster. It's so mean. I don't
I've
know.
never met a mean corgi in
I
my
know.
life.
I know. That's what I'm like. I don't. So.
We should have. If I'd have known we were going to be talking about corgis, I could have had the picture of Aaron with the corgi up.
Oh
I've never
yeah.
seen that boy be so happy.
I mean, corgis they're super cute, but
Great.
yeah, my sister-in-law, she's got a rough one, so we'll
Ooh.
see. Yeah, so what have you been up to since I've been gone, like weekend wise? Honestly haven't talked to you too much.
Yeah,
I've
no,
been hustling.
yeah. I've sent you pictures every now and again.
You have?
I've just been grinding through bulk here on the weekdays, but on the weekends, honestly, not a whole lot from me. I had
I saw you
not
went to that
not
that
last
gaming
weekend, but
convention.
2 weekends ago.
Yeah.
I went to the LCS third place game and the finals with a big group of friends. Brian Carey, who I actually had on the podcast last week.
Yes, thank you, Brian, for
Uh,
coming on.
some of his like family members and his girlfriend's family,
Hmm.
and then like there were like five of us, our other friends, including like Caleb went with us, who's another employee of ours.
Yeah,
Gavin went with us.
it's awesome.
It was the most fun I've ever had, and it was really funny because like as a Magic player that like goes to a lot of events, you kind of get used to seeing nerds out in public.
Hmm.
Like me and my friends, we always have the motto "Follow the backpack, so you'll know where to go."
Yeah,
Uh,
that is true.
but I forget like nerds out in public like that isn't the norm. So like a lot of my friends were just like, I can't believe there's so many like nerds and like people who just share this hobby with us out here, and I'm like, yeah, it's actually really cool to think about
Yeah,
things like that.
I think the nerd community, just not even just Magic the Gathering, but just like all the fandom that's going on with all because um, the, the cons are growing. I know 2 years ago, um, I had to buy a pass from somebody because the con was sold out in Gen Con
Gen
in
Con.
Indy was sold out. But that's because Magic was there for they were doing their 25th anniversary.
Yeah.
So, but they sold out again this year. I think maybe they didn't sell out on Sunday tickets or something like that, but Thursday through Saturday they sold out. So these cons are growing, and it's becoming all this nerd stuff's becoming like more mainstream. And I think that you're just going to see more and more people getting into gaming.
It's really cool.
Yeah, it is. It's very cool.
We're not the 1% anymore. We're
Yeah.
not the made fun of and kicked down the playground.
Yep, that's
for,
right. Yep. And I mean, even when I talk to people like about the business and like they ask me, "Oh, what do you do for a living?" and I tell them I'm like I sell collectibles online, and they're like, "Okay, what kind of collectibles?" And because like they ask because they actually want to know because they are gamers.
Yeah, they're
You know?
interested.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool.
But yeah, then that was 2 weekends ago. This weekend was kind of more of a chill weekend for me.
Hmm.
Saturday, I went to Pando and they had like a mock judge tournament where
Yeah, you told me about that this morning.
yeah, it was really cool actually just to like because some of the things that they do you don't really think about like you know oh what would happen if someone played Faithless Looting in the deck because they didn't know, but then they also accidentally slid a fifth copy of Faithless Looting in because it was 61 cards, but they only wrote 4 on their deck list.
Sure.
And things like that. What happens if someone comes into an event drunk, for example?
That's been me.
Yeah,
I've done that before.
but you weren't the rowdy drunk, I assume.
No, I've never gotten kicked out of a tournament ever for being too drunk. I'm like a really nice drunk, so
Mm-hmm.
and I don't really like playing. I don't like playing games when I'm drunk,
Yeah.
unless it's like at home with the family. I don't like because I look at Magic competitively. So if I drink, it's usually not.
Yeah,
to
I'm
get
the
drunk.
same way.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't want to I don't want to do something that I want to win at and be competitive at and be sloppy at the same
Yeah.
time. It just doesn't feel.
I made the
feel right.
mistake of going to a classic hungover, and I realized I'm never doing that again.
No, yeah, it's so
It was
awful.
And the worst part was I was playing Legacy.
Mm,
I like didn't think about it when we were like drinking and partying the night before, and then I woke up and I'm just like, man, I really wish I didn't pay for this classic the night before.
Yep. yeah.
But yeah, like it's really interesting because it's some of those things where like you don't think like, oh well, why is there like a rule for that? Like who would actually do that? But then you're like, people had to have actually done it for
Yeah.
them to like be practicing and like
Oh,
wanting
yeah.
to know the.
I've seen a lot of guys get belligerent drunk when they're playing Magic, like even FNMs and stuff. I see people come in there and drink too much, but you know it happens. Like some people just can't hold their alcohol, but it's Yeah, that's definitely something you have to think about as a judge. That's like one of the things that you don't think about as a player.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
But yeah, and
that's
then
cool.
so yesterday I just kind of went out for dinner with my family for the holiday.
Yeah.
We ended up going to Texas Roadhouse.
Ooh, baby.
Oh yeah,
You used to
got
get
me
me
some
some
steak and
smothered
ribs.
some smothered chicken from there, man. That
Yeah,
shit's that's pretty
the
good.
rolls. That's
Yeah.
the best part.
Yeah, I went and I this past weekend I went from Chicago to Las Vegas, flew in from back into Chicago, drove home, did 2 buys, and then got in the car 6 hours later and drove to Tennessee to hang out with my family this
Just been
weekend.
all over the place.
Yeah, so
Bet you've
Tennessee.
had significantly better food than I have this whole time too.
Yeah. We went to some podunk ass steak place. It was called Cowboy Steakhouse.
Yeah.
In I don't even know what part of Tennessee, but my family lives in Linden, so it was near Linden, Tennessee, and I think I paid it was like steak and shrimp, and it was like $35, and my aunt was like, she's like, well, y'all, it's gonna be expensive here, and I'm like, okay, I just left Vegas, like.
Yeah.
I paid $32 for 2 enchiladas in Vegas. Yeah, and drinks were like $12 just minimum to start. I got a martini with those enchiladas and it was $18 for a martini.
Jesus.
So when my aunt's like, "Y'all better buckle down. It's gonna be expensive here." And I'm just like, not even close. No. Nah, fam. For real, nah, fam. But yeah, they had some excellent steak there. I got a porterhouse. I never stray away from filet, but I got a porterhouse this time, and man, Western Tennessee meats. Yeah, nailed it.
I like tell people this all the time and they don't believe me. The best steak I've ever had, no joke, I warmed up in a microwave.
Yeah, I
Because
believe
my
it.
parents brought it from it was one of the like last few like actual open pit barbecues in Texas.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And they
just
brought
it
like
home.
they brought it back in the RV.
Yeah.
It was like a steak, some baked beans, a baked potato.
Yep.
It was literally the best steak I've ever
Yeah.
had in my life.
Yeah, they know how to cook down there, man. Like either out west they know how to cook, and then down south they know how to cook. So, um, yeah, I was really happy, and so I got to see my grandma. That was cool. Got to see my aunts. We went and floated the river. I'll have to bring some pictures up
Did you get
next
white
week.
girl wasted in the river again?
I actually didn't, man.
No?
I just been like kind of chilling on the booze lately, just hanging out. So I mean, usually, I'm getting dropped on my head doing
Keg
keg stands and
stands.
shit, but like not the last couple weeks. Even going to Vegas and going to see family, I just kind of like relaxed. Oh, and I got a little tipsy. We went to a gay bar in Nashville. We went and stayed in Nashville for the night, Sunday night. We went to a couple honky tonk bars and bought my daughter a pink cowgirl hat. Not a cowboy hat.
Cowgirl hat.
It's a cowgirl hat, all right? So get with the times. And then I went to a gay bar. Man, look at me.
You were having the weekend.
I was so just up with the times this weekend. And then we went to the bar. It was called Play. We went and saw a drag show right next door. They started a drag show at midnight, and there was some funny ass shit going on.
Drag shows are hilarious.
Yeah, there was this huge, super huge fat guy. He was like four bills, and he came on stage, but there was like on the back of the wall of the walkway. What do they call that?
The runway.
Runway. On the back of the wall, there was a wanted picture, and it had Kermit the Frog. And I was like, what the fuck is that? Why is that on the wall? And it just says wanted, and then it said like reward X amount of dollars. And so this monstrosity of a man, and this guy was like, he had to be like over 6 feet. He's probably 6'5", 400 and something pounds. He comes out in this pink dress, and he's got ears on, and he's dressed up as Miss Piggy. And he starts walking down the runway. He's dancing. He's getting after it. He goes to sashay and turn around and walk back, and there Kermit the Frog is taped to his ass. Just a Kermit doll. And I was like, holy shit, that is the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life.
That's great.
Yeah, so I mean, I go into drag shows like, I'm not a super big fan, but I like to go because a lot of times it's entertaining. But that was the best drag show I've been to. So.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's good times.
But yeah,
that's good.
All right, I think we're caught up with our lives.
Yeah, shit.
How about we get into our podcast 23 minutes
23 minutes later. Shit, you guys got to listen to me for 23 minutes, huh? God damn. All right, let's talk about magic.
They've missed your beautiful voice.
I
know I haven't.
Hope so.
All right. So, as usual, we like to start off with our fun fact of the week. And this week, it's that there are only 5 instants in Magic the Gathering that cost 0 mana. And each of them happen to be a pact. So, they're technically 0.
Summoner's Pact, Intervention Pact, Pact and Negation, which is basically Summoner's Pact and Pact and Negation are the 2 real playable ones.
Yeah, Slaughter's pretty playable.
Slaughter's playable. I used to play it all the time when Modern first started.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a really good.
You didn't have as good a removal back then.
No, yeah, I think it's a good commander card. And I'd have to say worst of all of them is Pact of Titan.
I think Intervention Pact is worse.
Yeah, but you can combo with Intervention Pact.
You can combo with Pact of the Titan.
You can?
Pact of the Titan, Pact of the Titan, Pact of the Titan, Pact of the Titan, Goblin Bushwhacker.
That's a combo?
Yeah, 2 Spirit Guides.
Oh.
It's 20 damage.
Okay. Alright. You ain't wrong.
I remember hearing someone talk about that, and I'm like, get out of here.
Yeah. You need, what? That's all 7, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. 4 packs, the Bushwhacker, and 2 Spirit Guides.
And then a land and a Spirit Guide, or 2 Spirit Guides, but yeah.
Oh, so you have to be on the draw. Oh, well, yeah.
Well, no.
Yeah,
one or the other.
Gotcha.
It's 7 cards.
That's cool. I like that fun fact. I never really thought about that.
Mm-hmm.
We could do, for a fun fact, we could do, what are those called? The 0 drop, the Cheerios creatures. We could do that for a fun fact one week.
I wonder how many of those there are.
Yeah, me too. Maybe someday we'll check it out.
All
right, so now let me do this. I'm back.
All right.
So now you know where you could get your packs. You could get them at Mom's.
Mom's Visiting Games.
No, let me do it, Richie. Well, I don't know. So let's look up one of the packs. This is my favorite game now.
Summoner's the most likely one for us to have, right?
I don't know. There it is, right there, 3 down. So we'll look and see if we got Summoner's Pact. What do you think?
Oh, we have 1.
Boom! We did it. Man, we're not whiffing on these lookups lately, man. We've got some stuff in stock. That's what I like to see. My brother just came and picked up like 4 Pact of Negations from me today, so I know
we have none in stock right now, though.
Yeah, we will after tonight probably.
Slaughter.
We've got to have a foil Slaughter Pact.
Dude, we better.
I feel like I just bought one of those.
I'll be upset if we don't.
What is this?
Oh, nope, we have 2 Slaughter Packs, but not.
Lightly.
Oh, look at that.
I see. I remember.
Pact of the Titan.
I guarantee you we have Pact of the Titan in stock.
I don't even know if it's a pick.
It is.
Well, I don't know if it's above $1.
It's above $1. It's gotta be. It's like $1 something.
We'll find out, right?
Yeah. It's $1.45.
We have 1 in stock.
Nailed it.
Moderately played.
Awesome.
Only the best. And then Intervention. Yeah, I didn't know there was a spelling bee today.
I didn't know you were going to look all packs up right now.
I didn't know I was going to either, but you wanted to play the game.
I mean, I just, one was fine.
Nope. We go all in at momsbasementgames.tcgplayerpro.com.
Oh, so we do have intervention.
If you can spend 20 minutes talking about your life, I can spend 5 minutes looking up packs.
We do. We
have one. So if you ever need a commander deck, we got all 5 packs.
Yeah.
For your Hive Mind 5-color commander deck.
That's right. Nailed it. Great.
And you can buy all those at momsbasementgames.tcgplayerpro.com.
Oh, yeah.
/catalog /magic /future site /intervention pact.
Intervention dash pact.
Dash pact.
Yeah.
All right,
cool.
But
So
I think that's enough of us goofing around, right? We should get into actual subjects.
Yeah, let us know what happened this past weekend with Star City
Games. So this past weekend was a yeehaw.
It was a yeehaw.
Dallas, Texas.
Dallas, Texas.
And you were yeehawing in Tennessee too.
I was, man. So
I wasn't yeehawing. I was in Michigan.
Yeah, you weren't doing nothing.
You might yeehaw a little bit in Michigan.
Yeah,
But
sometimes.
you know what was yeehawing? 4-color Wurza.
Four-color Wurza, man, I'm telling you, that is the deck. I keep
I
telling people, they were like, well, what's going to happen after the Hogak ban?
I think this is gonna be the best
You
deck.
can scroll back and, go back through our YouTube videos and listen to me go, I think Urza is going to be the best, the top 5 best decks.
You and I both talked about that.
Yeah.
I think.
I mean, we're going to have to keep saying this every week. This deck is just nuts, man.
Yeah.
Like, it's a super fast, like, it's turned into a combo deck, basically.
Yeah, it's combo prison.
Yeah, it's combo prison. Like, that's basically you're getting to play Legacy, right? At that point.
Kind of.
You know?
You're definitely very fast, which is something that you don't see a lot of in Modern anymore.
Yeah.
This is not fairly consistent, but with a Mox Opal, it can be a turn 3 kill.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of turn 3 kills with this deck.
Mm-hmm.
Just playing against it.
Which, might say something about the strength of Mox Opal, but we'll see.
I think Mox Opal's going to stick around for a long time.
I hope so.
I don't see them banning that card. I really don't see them banning anything in the future. I mean, I feel like Simeon Spirit Guide, Mox Opal, those were the cards that really, give you that fast mana and allow you to kind of cheat the game a little bit. But they're pretty under control right now for the most part.
I think Wizards will keep an eye on them, just like right along with Ancient Stirrings.
Yeah,
I think those are the 3 cards that.
Yeah, I think those are the 3.
If I were Wizards, would probably.
It depends. Like how much do you want to slow down Modern?
Well, yeah, exactly.
Do you want to slow it to a halt, or do you just want to keep it do you want to keep it fair but fast? And I think that's what they're trying to do. I think they're still trying to keep it fast, but I think they're trying to keep it fair and diverse, and that's the hard part.
And that's why a lot of people call for Mox Opal bans a lot of the time. I think Mox Opal's fine. I am more concerned about seeing Simeon Spirit Guide just as a card in general than I am Mox Opal, because Mox Opal needs a lot more build around in my opinion.
Yeah.
And your Mox Opal decks typically can't kill faster than turn 2, and on turn 2 you can play Stony Silence.
Yeah.
So that's kind of always been my thought. I've been a big adversary recently, because once we've seen these new BNRs, a lot of people were like, "Oh, what's going to happen?" I'm like, I think Modern is going to be in a very good spot, because in my opinion, when 2 of your best aggro decks are Affinity and Burn, that is a sign of a healthy Modern.
Yeah, I've heard people say that too. I mean, me being a Burn player, I'd have to say that Burn is not. I think people are going to give Burn a little bit more credit than what it has right now.
The Lotus Box guys actually played Burn at Dallas.
Yeah, and no, Burn's great. I just don't think it's actually in the top 5 decks right now.
Interesting.
I don't. I think it's right outside there.
It might be. I haven't put a ton of thought into it.
It's no Merfolk. It's not down there in the toilet or anything. Terrence Vincent.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Merfolk was in the top 5.
No, it's no toilet deck like Merfolk.
Uh-huh.
Terrence Vincent.
I hope he's our one viewer. Let's find out.
But it is, it's just, it is what it is. Burn is always going to stay steady, and it's going to continue to put up very consistent numbers. And I'm excited to sleeve back Gonti's Machinations. That's what I'm very excited to sleeve back.
I'm actually excited to give Gonti's a try.
Yeah.
Although I still want to give Prowess a try again. I don't think that deck's dead like people think it is. Yeah. We've seen some copies splattered throughout this event, and I think. Yeah. Speaking of Burn, Dylan Donegan took second with it.
Hey, good job, Dylan.
Pretty traditional red-white Burn.
Yeah, it is very, very traditional right now.
Notably, what's interesting to me, one, he's on 5 of the card draw lands.
Yes, I saw that.
So he expects the meta to be slower, not a lot of aggro decks.
Yep.
And he's on Skewer instead of Skullcrack main, which means he doesn't think Stoneforge is actually as big of a problem as people think it will be.
Well, you have to remember too that with a lot of these Stoneforge decks, and this is just actually me playing. This is me talking with some. I don't know. I'd have to say I play a lot of Legacy, so I can actually talk intelligently about it. And I play Burn and Legacy, and I play against Stoneforge Mystic all the time. When you don't have access to Daze, The card's just not as strong. Now, Spell Pierce is really strong. Flusterstorm is really strong. We do have Flusterstorm in Modern, but
Flusterstorm isn't that good in Modern, though.
it's really
the other
not.
thing to think about.
I think it actually is. I think it can get better with this. The way the meta is going to start shifting.
Mm-hmm. I actually think Spell Pierce is more the way to go in Modern, just because there's more Planeswalkers than in Legacy.
Yeah, you're going to see. I think you're going to see a Spell Pierce uptick, pretty hard here in a lot of lists.
I mean, I played 3 in my Blue-White Stone Forge list, and it felt great.
Yeah, but for the most part, you can get rid of Stoneforge Mystic.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times, I know like Burn has Lava Spike, and they also have Boros Charm, and that's 8 cards right there, along with your creatures that aren't going to deal with that.
But I mean,
you have a lot of other
Blaze,
stuff.
Skewer, which they're probably not blocking with their Stoneforge Mystic.
Yeah, they're probably most likely not going to block with it, so it turns Skewer on.
You'll get Goblin Guide or Swift Spear or Eidolon in probably.
Yeah, and then you have access to the reason why why Burn has gotten so much better is because you have Path to Exile, and that's another outlet for you to get rid of Stoneforge Mystic at 1 mana.
Mm-hmm.
So it's essentially another bolt.
Also, Smash is really good against Stoneforge.
Now that's the other thing too that like a lot of people I think they're kind of overdoing. I think a little bit. Like I've seen 4 smashes in the sideboard. To be honest, why wouldn't you just play more Deflecting Palms if you think you're going to see more Batter Skulls? I mean, you just get to end the game there.
I would rather destroy the Batter Skull personally.
I mean, I just don't think there needs to be 4 copies. I think 2 to 3 copies is fine, but I'd also like to see like a 3-3 split with Deflecting Palm. That's my opinion.
I've never liked more than 3 Deflecting Palm personally.
Yeah, no, I think 3 Deflecting Palm is right now. Is proper.
So do you think white's the right color to play in Burn?
Yeah, I mean it's all 4-ofs. It's all very consistent. But you lose with the Sunbakes and the playing all these draw lands that doesn't give you access to a 3rd color in green.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can't play D-Rev. And I think with Burn getting all this hype, I think you're going to start seeing an uptick in ley lines. And I mean, if you don't draw your creatures, if you don't draw your Swift Spears or your Goblin Guides or your Eidolons, you die to a ley line.
Yeah.
So I'd rather see people playing that splash of green and maybe going down on the Sunbakes.
Yeah.
But that's just my opinion. I don't know if it's right.
So before we go, I got one more thing to talk about with this list.
Okay.
Because I noticed it and it's crazy. 4 Core Firewalker in the sideboard.
That's actually not that crazy if you expect to see a lot of Burn.
I don't know. I was never impressed with this card in Burn.
No, I actually never played it. I just played... You know what I did? I played more Path to Exile.
I played more Searing Bloods.
Because what I did was I would just path their Core Firewalker. Like, you can have your extra land, but I'm gonna win the game.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't need to fetch shock down to 14 or 12 or whatever I had to fetch shock down to by the time I got my Core Firewalker on.
Exactly.
And then you're gonna skull crack me and then blast me for the rest.
I would almost rather see this be Dragon's Claws.
It's Dragon's Claws.
Because I don't think they'd bring in their Artifact Hate in the mirror.
You will not bring in your Artifact Hate in the mirror unless you know that they're on Dragon's Claw.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think, to be honest, I think that's a lot. It's a lot better plan because then yes, you don't have to fetch shock and get double white. Now that you have Sunbaked Canyons, you might not have to do that as much. This list, you don't have to do that at all. You've just got the 4 Sun. Oh yeah, you do. There's 2 Sacred Foundries in there.
And you got your 4
your 4 Inspiring Vantage. So you may be able to play him efficiently, but it's not always going to be the case.
Yeah.
So.
All right.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy about Burn being up there.
Ross Miriam on Titan Shift was an interesting thing that happened as well.
Okay. Why is that interesting?
Just because it's not really a deck that it's not something like he's traditionally known for playing.
Okay.
But he does play pretty much everything. He's normally known for playing more like graveyard decks.
Sure.
But a lot of people are talking, and I also agree. I think Titan, nobody ever thinks about this deck, But before Hogak, like, almost every event had a copy in the top 8.
Of Titan Shift?
Yeah. Like, this deck was sleeper best deck in Modern, in my opinion.
I think the deck is definitely in that top 10 list.
Oh, yeah. It's really powerful. Like, it has access. It doesn't get affected by Damping Sphere as a big mana deck. You get to play Summoner's Pact, which is great in a card we talked about today, so kind of ties into everything.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't go super above, but you kill a lot faster than the other big mana decks.
Okay.
Primeval Titan is a busted magic card.
Yes, he is very, very absurd.
So, yeah, that's something interesting to point out. Moving on through the top 8, Grixis Shadow's back. Not to, at least me, not a surprise. The thing that was really holding this deck back was it has a horrendous graveyard deck matchup. So, I'm not surprised to see this deck popping back up. People really like its playstyle also.
What episode is this?
14.
Okay, so at episode 14, we finally almost, I think by episode 15, we won't have to talk about Hogak that much anymore. Isn't that awesome? It took us like 15 episodes.
I mean, we don't really have to talk about it this episode.
Well,
it's gone.
We got to.
Yeah, we have to talk about the
BNR. Shift. Yeah, we
sure.
have to talk about the meta shift.
Yeah.
And what the end result was to say, okay, these decks are now. These are the decks that are going to start to rise up, and then we can have an established meta. And so this is like the first real week.
Yeah.
And so now we can kind of gauge like, okay, this is where we think everything's going.
Here's the burn list from Zan Syed, which is the Lotus Box burn list. As you see, pretty stock main deck, but moving on to the sideboards where it gets really interesting. 4-core Firewalker and 2 Seasoned Pyromancer.
I almost actually played a Seasoned Pyromancer in my Boreo's Vengeance deck a few weeks ago because I needed a slot. And I think it's kind of when you get into a grindy matchup, the value on this card is insane.
Mm-hmm.
So you can kind of get yourself back in the game with this card.
Do you think it's good for burn though?
I think it's fine. I think this is kind of a next level type of card. I couldn't speak intelligently on it because number one, I haven't played the card, and number two, I'm not that good at burn. But I think that just by my thoughts of what I just said I think it's a card that you can get extra value from. That's something that burn has always had a problem with, and that's why we have the Sunbaked Canyons now, because we need that extra card draw, and that's what this does for you. Along with, you can even put some bodies on the board if you can get up to 5 lands.
Interesting. It'll be interesting tech to see if continues.
Yeah, it could.
Rectos Prison also making the top 8. This is your brother played this deck a little bit. I played it on
He
stream.
did. Yep.
I wasn't a huge fan of it when I tried it.
You didn't like this deck.
It felt real bad to me. But it's modern. Anything can
yes.
top 8 at any time.
Yeah, especially SCGs. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, sometimes just playing a Blood Moon will win you games. So.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And then rounding out the top 8, we have Tron, which I'm really happy to see people are going back to the Great Creators main. I think that's a very good call because I expect a lot of artifact decks in the meta. The Thragtusks in the main are really interesting. Probably a meta call too, expecting a lot of burn. Especially I know Dallas, Texas is known for having like a lot of burn players there.
Okay.
So.
I mean, you got to remember that card is just really good in a mid-range game too.
Yeah.
Like he's the card that basically established mid-range just a few years ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have 2 in my sideboard still because I think the card's great in the deck. But...
Yeah, and I mean, I think you can slot them right into the main whenever you feel like there's going to be a real, when you got to outvalue people.
I could see that.
Because it's a huge swing in any game when he resolves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have like an extra worm coil, and then I have an All Is Dust in my main.
Yeah, instead of the 2 Thragtusk main.
Yeah. But I could very well see Thragtusk does come down a little earlier when people are messing with your lands.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So moving down, we have like Orzhov Smallpox, Azorius Control. Yeah, 4 Stoneforges too. This is the first Stoneforge deck
to hit the top.
Yeah.
Top 16. So there was no
Stoneforges in the top 8. Yep.
Love
SCG tweeted about that actually.
I love it. That's really cool.
Yeah, this is a very Russ-esque deck in my opinion.
Yeah, Russ would play the shit out of this deck.
Oh yeah. Then Azorius Control with Stoneforge in it, taking 10th.
Okay.
Other than that, nothing.
So it looks like it's a pretty solid. It's if you're interested in playing the deck, it's going to get you that day 2.
This is
top 16.
This is the interesting Stoneforge deck in my opinion.
Devoted, yeah, the Devoted Stoneforge deck.
Well, the interesting thing about it,
What?
Stoneforge Mystic gets you Viridian Longbow, which combos with your Devoted Druid and Vizier to do infinite damage.
Yeah.
I find that sweet.
Yeah.
And that you get to play Lightning Greaves. So you Stoneforge up your Lightning Greaves to give your Devoted Druid haste. This deck is so I'm going to play this on stream at some point. I'm not playing it this week, probably maybe next week or something, but...
What you think about playing this week?
That Dead Gael deck.
Ooh, yeah.
Kind of like the Black-White Smallpox deck, just not Smallpox.
Yeah, so if you guys are interested in watching Magic, come check us out. There's going to be, I think there's going to be quite a few of us that are going to be running through Stoneforge decks in the next couple weeks just because we want to see the power level of that thing. And I know I'm sure a lot of people have tested it so far. And like Richie, how do you feel about the power level of Stoneforge? Because I haven't got to cast a Stoneforge Mystic probably in, God, I'd say I played Death and Taxes for like a year and a half. Last time I cast a Stoneforge Mystic, other than in Commander, in my Rafik deck, to go get a poison equipment. It's probably been about, I'd say, 7 or 8 years.
Oh, wow.
Since I've cast a Stoneforge in competitive Magic. But how did it feel?
Yeah, I haven't cast a ton of Stoneforges yet. I've played 2 different Modern decks. I've played a couple things of D&T, throughout like my year of playing Legacy because my friend Brandon had it, and I'd be like, hey, let me borrow it. I don't feel like playing Delver this week.
Sure.
But so far it feels... I've heard a lot of comparisons. I kind of agree with it. It feels a lot like Tarmogoyf, where...
Power level feels pretty high, but it doesn't feel insane.
Yes, and the biggest thing is like specific white decks want it, but not every single white deck will want Stoneforge.
Sure.
The biggest interesting thing is the decks that have been seeming to do really well are things that are trying to, really do super powerful things with Stoneforge. Like in that Smallpox deck, it gives you an extra creature to sack after you put your Batter Skull in. In this deck, it tutors you up a combo.
Sure.
A lot of decks that are playing it, like the blue-white control is one of the only few that really is like just playing Stoneforge as a threat on its own without like really using it to try to like protect other things. So like you play your Stoneforge, they answer it, and then you have something else.
Okay.
Like the blue-white deck I played had Spell Queller in it also, and so like if they killed your Stoneforge, your Spell Queller was likely to stick and not die as easily, so they don't get their spell back. Things like that.
Okay.
And I think those are the homes where you're going to see Stoneforge stick the most, are decks like that, or anything where it can tutor up a combo piece like Devoted Druid.
Nice.
Or even some Wurza decks we've been seeing it played in.
Yeah.
Storm notably back on the menu now that Phoenix isn't a thing, probably the best Izzet deck in Modern now.
Yeah, this deck I still think this deck was playable.
People play it.
Yeah, like I don't think it ever really kind of just went away, but it was kind of in that same slot that Burn was in during the Hogak times, where you don't want to be playing it because let's say you're really proficient with it, and let's say it's still a solid deck, it's just not good enough.
Yeah.
So like, why are you going to play a deck that's you could play a better deck?
Exactly.
Why compete with a deck that is a tier lower than a deck that you could be playing? So
exactly.
Just felt bad.
Amulet Titan, a lot of people have been saying is back on the menu because the problem was that the format was a little too fast for this deck. This deck really, it has fast kills, but the biggest draw to it is how toolboxy it is. So now that we're slowing the format down, I've been seeing a lot of people talk and starting to pick this deck back up. Notably, like Steve and Artie are really talking about it. They're pretty good Amulet players in our area.
Okay, cool.
So this deck I'm also really interested in. Selesnya Eldrazi. It was a big deck being talked about going into the weekend, actually. And Allie Warfield made top 22 with it. And this deck is wild, and I love it. It's like almost everything I want to be doing in Modern. You got your Eldrazi's in Displacer, Thought-Not Seer, Reality Smasher, Ramp and Noble Hierarch, Consistency and Ancient Stirrings. You have a Karn Great Creator package, which I think is pretty cool and interesting considering you do ramp with Noble Hierarch. Uh, you can activate your Stoneforge, hold priority, blink it with Displacer to go get another equipment if you don't have one. So there's a lot of cool things you can do with this deck.
That's cute.
And it's right up my alley.
Wait.
Like this or Bant Stone or Bant Eldrazi. I want to be trying at some point.
So I think this is something that I want to talk about, and I think this is something that maybe isn't being talked about that much. Is most of these, even these like just these middle of the road decks, maybe even mid rangey, all these creature decks, these aggro decks, just like this Selesnya Eldrazi deck, it has a combo in it, right?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have the combo in the main board. But it doesn't need to be in the main board because it's got Karn in there. So sure, I guess it technically does have it in the main board, right?
Yeah,
because you have access to your whole 75. Now, with the deck that you just talked about, where you can go get Viridian Longbow, most of these top decks that you're seeing in the top 16, they all have access, along with Wurza, Prison, they all have access to a combo. So if you're going to be playing Modern, right now there's not a whole lot of decks that you can compete with at a high level that doesn't have some sort of combo in there. I mean, you do have your decks, like you have Burn, you have Tron, but like, your traditional Tron that does well. But most of these decks
even traditional Tron's back on Karn the Great Creator.
Yeah, so they're on that 75 plan with the combo piece in there. So there's not many decks that you can play right now. So if you're not, that's the thing. I've never been a combo player, right? I've never really enjoyed combo, and I talk to a lot of people that don't like combo. Hey, what's up, Caleb?
Hey, Caleb, how's it going?
Thanks for stopping by, bub. But yeah, like there is, you have to play a combo, I think, in Modern to compete right now. So I'm going to go ahead and say, put my stamp of approval on that. That if you want to compete, get yourself a combo deck.
We'll see moving forward. I think the format has a lot of time to adjust for fair decks.
It does. It's going to grow. But like Jund, you can still play Jund. Deck's great, but it has a lot of disruption for those combo decks.
Right.
You have Thoughtseize, you can get rid of that combo piece, and then you have all the kill spells. You can get rid of that, not Batterskull token, but you can get rid of Stoneforge Mystic, right when it comes down. You can just kill it. So, and slow them down that way. But yeah, I think there's going to be less in Modern going forward. I think there'll be a lot less fair decks that you could play. I think the fair decks are going to shrink a little bit.
Which is interesting because everyone kind of figured that the fair decks are what would be coming back with like the Stoneforge unban and everything.
Sure, they're going to expand, but you got to remember that the really solid ones, I think, that are going to be good are going to be the ones like the Viridian Longbow, where it gives you access to. You have it doesn't matter what it is, you have some sort of combo in your deck, period. And it might not be the focus of your deck, it may be a fair deck, but you always have that button that you can push and go, oh, okay, you're dead.
Mm-hmm.
So, and
it's like Commander in that sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Astro, what you saying? Who doesn't like combo?
Pizza, pretzel, and nacho.
Yeah, Astro, you're not wrong. I mean, combo is I love combo and Commander, because that format takes too goddamn long to play, but I like to shut it down after about 10 turns.
You're just like, nope, I'm bored. Let's end it and move on to the next game.
For some reason, when I play competitive Magic, like Modern, Legacy, I just don't like combo for some reason. I don't know why. So that was the Open, the top 16 for the Open. How did the Classics go?
Well, as you mentioned, combo deck took first. Dredge in the hands of Jake Perellis, which had a really interesting addition now that Faithless Looting's banned.
Doomscour, stop the badness.
Yeah.
We picking them?
I've been putting them in backstock for a while now.
Oh, well, so have I. I've been backstocking the shit out of Tombscour.
Tombscour, 4 of in the main deck of Dredge.
Oh, it's Tome, isn't it? Because it's Tome.
Yeah.
It's not actually Tomb, Tomb.
No, it's Tome Scour.
Tome Scour. Let's get that right.
We'll see if this ends up being the correct card in Dredge, or if it's gonna be like, Insolent Neonate, Cathartic Reunion.
Well, it could.
Or not Cathartic Reunion.
Hedron
Stitcher
Crab.
Supplier.
Don't forget about the Hedron Crab edition too.
I think this might be better than Hedron Crab for Dredge.
That's what I'm saying. But like they were toying with that too. You don't know.
Alpine Moon's in the side, which is interesting for this deck.
Sure.
Because they can mill it over there.
Well, dude,
they could mill it over, but
this was a classic. Okay, this got real classic. So
you're
gonna see
it
some
took
weird
first
shit.
though, but
no, I know, but I mean you're gonna see some weird shit. So let's see what was the rest of the top.
This is pretty close to something like what I'm playing this.
Dead Guy,
yeah. I have a couple different cards, but interesting. I might have to look at this list and maybe change a couple cards around based off it.
I mean, it took 7th. I'd say this is a pretty solid list. So let's take a look at the top. So in the classic, it was Dredge, Eldrazi-tron, Burn, Jund, Titan Shift, Jund, Orzhov Stormblade, better known as Dead Guy Ale to you old people, and then Burn again.
I'm actually surprised to see Eldrazi-tron. This is a deck I wasn't sure how popular it'd be moving forward, because we lose a lot of the Chalice of the Void effect in Modern, like...
Yeah.
Faithless and Mono-Red. I think Arclight Phoenix is probably not a playable Modern card anymore.
For those of you listening on the SoundCloud, Caleb asks what we thought about the Cathartic Reunion as a replacement for Faithless Looting and Mono Red Phoenix. It kind of, again, you guys are going to find yourselves wanting to maybe just, play Cathartic Reunion instead, or even play cards like what? Insolent Neonate, correct? So there's cards that you can still play with, but are those cards going to be fast enough? I don't think we know yet. I think that it needs a little bit more testing. I think the meta is like what Richie said. The modern meta is going to be it's going to be changed up for a while, and it's going to have some waves to go through. And I think that the best thing for any of you to do, if you are competitive, or maybe you're not competitive, maybe you just enjoy playing every, once a week or on Friday nights, but test those cards out. Don't just set a deck down because Faithless Looting got banned. Don't just set a deck down because Hogak got banned. You see that Dredge took first place in the Classic this past weekend, and that's why we do this every week. We let you guys know, like, hey, you can still play these decks. You can still play that style of deck. Don't be discouraged by that, but you are the one who has to go out and do the testing to see, like, oh, okay, this card works in my deck and I can still continue to play this deck. Or maybe you do have to set your deck down. Maybe Faithless Looting was it, Cathartic Reunion's too slow and you keep finding yourself dying all the time. Maybe you just switch a deck. But I would say that, Caleb, to answer your question, I'm not sure. I think it can work. Will it work? I don't know. You got to try.
So my personal opinion is, I think you play the deck just without Arclight Phoenix now, and I think it's a lot better. Go to more of like the Prowess version with like Bedlam Revelers and Blister Coil Weirds, and then you can play things like Mutagenic Growth, cards like that. That's my recommendation. I think a lot of the decks that played Arclight Phoenix in specific are going to be going to a different shell that is more like the Prowess list is going to be where Mono Red Phoenix goes. Is it Phoenix is going to become probably Blue Moon. That's where I see a lot of things going is, your deck is kind of the same, but you're not going to see... I will be surprised if we see Arclight Phoenix being a playable Modern card for a while.
I think it's still okay, right? It's just like what I said. Like, I think it just gets tiered back. Like, it's just like saying, like, oh man, like, this deck lost a card, it's not playable anymore. I think it's kind of, I think people are a little, I think they're a little they're overdoing it a little bit. I'd say that Arclight Phoenix, somebody needs to find a shell for it, and they need to make the shell, and they need to refine it. And I think you could see it in a deck. I'm just not sure how good it would be.
Yeah, so I guess, like, you and I just are giving different opinions. Like,
yeah.
Your opinion is, like, sure, play the deck. My opinion is I'd rather tell you a deck that's probably just better to play.
and that's okay. And that's like I was saying earlier. During the Hogak times, you just couldn't play Burn. You just couldn't play some of these decks. You just couldn't play because there's just better decks to play.
Mm-hmm.
But if you like that style of deck and you're in tune with the meta, you can play any deck. I mean, Modern is the epitome of the Wild West.
Yeah.
And like you see these, like Astro, he asked, did we already cover the ninth place Dead Guide Ale deck? Yeah.
Yeah.
And like seeing that deck is crazy. Like people are like, oh wow, you can play just black white Stoneblade now. Like that's fucking insane.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not insane because you had a good pilot playing that deck, and they know what the meta is, and they know what to look for, and they know how to make their sideboard. So, Wild West, baby.
Exactly.
All right. So how was that next classic?
Just checking the top 16. We just kind of see like pretty much the same thing.
Yeah.
A couple Merfolk, some Burn, some Jund. But then we have the standard top 16, which standard's kind of this is like the last tournament for this standard format.
Yeah.
And there's been this new combo deck, Kythus combo, that's been popping up, and it's basically the new Scape Shift. Like this is just the best deck in standard now.
Okay.
So
now, what are you gonna lose though from it?
The deck.
Oh, the whole entire deck's gone.
Basically, Mox Amber is part of your combo, and Mox Amber rotates.
So it took somebody this entire time until the last week of the format to figure this combo deck out.
Yep, it was like a week before this. I think the combo deck came out.
Shit.
But
that's crazy.
Yeah,
missed opportunities, man.
With Kythus, you exile 2 legendary cards from your graveyard, and then you can play legendary cards from your graveyard for their mana cost.
Mm-hmm.
Each legendary... let me make sure I read this card right.
Sure.
So it's Abzan. It's a 3/4 legendary creature, Elf Advisor. Legendary spells cost 1 less to cast. Exile 2 legendary cards from your graveyard. Until end of turn, each legendary card in your graveyard gains. You may play this card from your graveyard.
Okay.
So with Mox Amber, that's infinite mana.
Got it.
Then with Fibblethip, that's drawing your deck.
Okay.
With infinite mana.
Is Fibblethip legendary?
Yes.
Oh, nice. So he's only 1 blue.
Mm-hmm. And then so you use Diligent Excavator to fill your graveyard because everything in your deck is a historic spell.
Okay.
You have Lazav is just like a value card. Teshar also can combo. But then you just burn your opponent out with Oath of Kaya once you have infinite mana. Because you just keep playing Oath of Kayas from your graveyard, dealing 3 damage to your opponent.
That's real.
You have Urza's Ruinous Blast as a board wipe. Then, a couple Planeswalkers, Tameo and Ashiok, are some self-mill to try to set it up. Teferi is just the best card in Standard, so you play Teferi.
Gotta play 4 Teferis.
And then in your sideboard, you play just some other good legendary cards for the most part.
Fun fact from Vegas this past weekend, or 2 weekends ago, I picked up 21 Teferis.
Nice.
You know how many I came home with?
0.
5.
Okay. Do you want to?
That's how many I traded.
Do you want to tell the chat how many ideas unbound you came home with?
I came home with about 150 ideas unbound.
Oh, did you count it?
No, I didn't.
Or did you measure
it? No, I just
guesstimation.
I just guessed, and it was about 150 ideas unbound. So that Twiddlestorm deck, that thing better start top
twiddle.
That thing better start top 8 because we got 150 copies of ideas.
They're already up to like $4.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is the like I was saying, this is like the new best deck. Feather also putting up a copy. Pretty much the same list we've been seeing since the new core set dropped. Notably some Alpine Moons in the sideboard for Scape Shift, but Scape Shift really wasn't a deck anymore because of this Kythus combo deck.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Mono red with our boy, the free rampaging Philosodon.
Yeah.
Making the top 8.
And he was the fun fact last week, right?
Yeah.
He was the only standard card to go onto the ban list, come off the ban list in Magic history.
Yep.
Which is a very cool one. I'm kind of sad I missed out on that one. Cool.
Then we got some vampires, some mid-range, some Esper Hero, Pretty much the format we know, but this Kythus deck is new and interesting. And
it's your standard.
Yeah. Well, no, it's definitely not your standard. This is a wild deck for standard.
Sure.
But it's really cool that like they're not scared right around rotation to really push the power level of a format.
Yeah.
Especially because the thing about this deck is it's going to be historic legal.
Okay.
So, they're not afraid to put combo decks, powerful things into historic, which will be good.
Cool.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. We're
cool.
Not going to see any of these decks probably again. So
what's coming up for future events so everybody knows?
Yeah, that's the next thing we get to, which is coming up this weekend is GP Indianapolis, Magic Fest Indianapolis. I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry.
And it's Team Ununified Modern.
Magical Shit Fest 2019 schedule.
I like it.
Yeah, Indianapolis Team Modern is this weekend. I'm kind of surprised you're not going to this because it's only like 4 hours and it's a team event and you could chill with the homies. I know.
I didn't go to the GP in my backyard. You think I'm driving 3 hours?
That was limited though.
I didn't go to a GP in my backyard.
Yeah.
You think I'm driving 3 hours to go to one?
Indy's 4.
Besides that, I'm even worse. I'm driving to Syracuse in 2 weeks though.
Okay.
For an SCG, I'm driving like 11 hours.
Nice.
So yeah, that really says things about the state of Magic Fest.
Yeah.
But as we'll get to next, maybe I'll be interested in going to them again here shortly.
Maybe you will.
Yeah. Which
tell us about the future of Magic esports.
Yeah.
That's our next thing.
So we're gonna just go over the topics we talked about while Josh was gone for the most part. That's what we're gonna be doing this week. So we're gonna start off by briefly re-going over the future of Magic esports and getting, your input on it. So essentially, this is the breakdown of everything. You have a paper side and you have an arena side now.
Sure.
Mythic championships no longer exist.
Okay.
They're now going to be players tours, and each Magic is going to be divided up into
like golf. The players tour. Jesus.
It's going to be divided into 3 seasons now throughout the year, and there's going to be a player tour in each season in each region of the Americas, the European, and the Asia Pacific. To qualify for these, you can qualify through PTQs.
Yep.
Which they're PTQs again. Also, notably, they're PTs again. They might not be Pro Tours, but they're PTs.
Yeah, they're players.
Just call them PTs again, guys.
Okay, cool.
And PTQs are back instead of MCQs because they're Player Tour qualifiers. So we're back to the original names. It's gone in full circle.
Nice.
But yeah, so these are like the events that are happening at your locals. Like Pando has them all the time, or not all the time, but every season they have one. WPN qualifiers. These are like the events.
Go ahead, you can keep talking.
Okay. These are the events like the side events you see at GPs, where they play. What did I say? I want to know about this thing called Dead Guy Ale. A new thing, which is Premier Series, will qualify you for Players Tours. What Premier Series are SCGs. So they're giving invites to the Players Tours to events like tournament organizers like SCG.
Okay.
So I think SCG announced that it's going to be the winner of invitationals will also get an invite to Players Tours.
Okay. Yeah. I briefly remember you talking to me about this when they came out with this. It was like last month, right? We were sitting upstairs and you were kind of running over all this stuff and how it was going to work. And
yeah, it was like right before you left that this happened.
Yeah, and I mean, I was balls deep in a 24-hour marathon of Law and Order, but I was still listening to you, probably like 65% listening to you.
Fair. But
man, when Law and Order comes on,
I get it. You're just like my mom.
Yeah, 36-year-old man that lives in, there's a 70-year-old man that lives inside my body, for sure.
Terrence Vincent. He's inside your body a lot. But yeah, as usual, you can qualify through a Grand Prix. But the interesting thing about Grand Prix is they're still super top heavy. So if I believe X2 a Grand Prix or better, you get qualified for the Players Tour.
Okay.
And then if you get first at the Grand Prix, you not only qualify for the Players Tour, but you qualify for the Player Tour Final, which is basically like. So how a lot of people are comparing it, these are like Pro Tours. This is like a super Pro Tour.
Okay.
It's like a really good prizing,
Got it.
and it will feed into Worlds.
Now, I mean, I met a couple top heavy ladies this past weekend in Vegas. So how top heavy is it? Is it that kind of top heavy, or is it a little bit less? Crickets, crickets, crickets. All right, moving on.
All right. No comment. um, they did announce on Twitter that they are probably going to be trying to work on something for rewarding consistency as well as so like something along the lines of what like silver used to be. Well,
Sure.
if you X3 enough Grand Prix, you'll get a PT invite. We assume it will probably end up being something like that.
Okay.
And then you still have your Magic Online qualifiers. For Pauper, Standard, Modern, Legacy. Those all still exist on Moto.
Excellent.
But yeah, you can go to any of these, but you can only go to one each season.
Okay.
And your flights are still not paid for most events.
Son of a bitch.
But if you win a PTQ, the store is responsible for helping you get a flight.
As in, what does that mean? The responsible quotes, air quotes, right?
They have to help cover your flight, apparently.
Yeah, but how? Like, what's the number on it? Do
I
they
don't-
actually have a number, or is it just a responsibility
I
word?
don't know. That's what people are not 100% sure on.
Weird.
But from the arena, like we have a lot of answers, but we don't have all the answers, kind of thing.
Sure. And that's good. That's like the MO for basically for Wizards is like, hey, we're gonna give you all this stuff, but we're gonna kind of keep it vague, because we want to be able to rewrite this and fix this stuff as we go along because that's all they do is change shit.
Mm-hmm.
And like not to be negative or anything, but literally that's all they do. Is just they continue to change things. And now I know, in any business you want to change things and make them better. And so we have to hope that that's what they're doing, that they're trying to make this stuff better. But it doesn't always work out that way. So that's where you get that negativeness from the players. So let's hope that they're going to get this right. Let's hope that they leave it a little open-ended and to give themselves some room to rewrite and, help these players get to their events that they need to get to.
Yeah. So on the arena side of things, they're taking the top 1,200. They're taking the top 1,200 from ranked plays.
Okay.
In both limited and constructed, and you get fed into mythic qualifiers as well as mythic point challenges, which these are basically just like the challenges on Moto.
Sure.
You can earn extra point. You can earn points with them, and this is like what we've been seeing where there's qualifiers that feed you into the invitational based off how you do.
Okay.
Notably, though, there is a new tier added for the Rivals League, which we'll get to here in a minute.
Sure.
Which they have their own mythic qualifiers that will feed them into the Mythic Invitational. So that way, they're going to be higher average than your typical players, but like lower than your MPL players. And they also will get a better chance at getting into the Mythic Invitational.
Nice.
So scrolling on down here, going through some more, we get to what the Rivals League is. So the Rivals League is going to consist of the top 12 Mythic points earners, 6 discriminatory slots, so basically 6 people Wizards feels deserves it. Top 12 players points earners, which this is the paper side of things. The bottom 12 from the MPL gauntlet, because the MPL is shrinking from 36 to 24 players. And then the bottom 4 of the current MPL. So each season, the Rivals League is going to change because they basically, you have to compete for your MPL slots now. So in the MPL, the top 16 of the 24 players will stay in the MPL until the next season.
Okay. They're grandfathered into the next season.
Yes. The bottom 8.
16 minus 24 is 8.
Yeah.
I got you.
Your bottom 4 just get dropped immediately into the Rivals League.
Okay.
They have to work to get back into the MPL next season if they want it.
Got it.
The top 4 of the bottom 8 have to compete to hold their spots in what's called the Rivals Gauntlet.
The Gauntlet.
Which is 16 players, the 4 MPL and the 12 of the 12 top rivals.
Okay.
Compete in this gauntlet where the top 4 advance to the MPL. And, oh, no, I'm sorry. It is not the top 12. It is the top Yeah, it's the top 12. Compete. Hold on. How does? It's not the top 12.
Looks like the top 8, right?
No, it
Bing, bing, bing. Or is it 12?
No. So the top. It's the top 14 minus. No, the top. It's. Okay, I'm trying to figure out how to explain this correctly.
Carry the 1.
So the top 2 rivals from the Mythic points automatically get added into the MPL, and the top 2 players' points from the rivals league automatically get added.
You were literally going so
MPL.
good. I was so impressed. And this looks like a big fucking cluster shit balls. This is ridiculous.
Yeah. So what it is basically you take the top 2 Mythic points earners and the top 2 player points earners out of the MP or out of the rivals league, and they're immediately in the MPL. And then the top 12 after that compete against the top 4 of the bottom 8 MPL, and the 4 that win that survive to go into the MPL.
The gauntlet.
The gauntlet.
The gauntlet. Wow, that's something else, Richie.
Yeah.
Like, I just sat here and listened to you tell me, and I don't remember anything you just said. I just blacked out.
Well, good thing. It's not going to affect you. You probably won't be in the rivals league.
I won't be in the rivals league for sure.
So then they go over like basically how you get ranked as a player, which is just by earning points, you know?
Sure.
Kind of like pro points, except paper and arena have their own separate ones.
Yep, that makes sense.
They break down the prize structure for a lot of the events.
Yeah.
How you can qualify, which we've pretty much already gone over.
Blah, blah, blah. Oh, you've got a... Okay,
notably, the players' tours have different prize pools.
Okay.
So the Americas, because they're expecting more players, has a 250,000 prize pool.
Okay.
The European one, because they're expecting 400, has 200,000.
Yeah.
And then the Asia Pacific, because they're only expecting 250, has a $150,000 prize pool.
Dang, so America's coming in there, America strong with 250K.
But it is $500,000 among these 3 tournaments each season. So
that's good.
That's a pretty good number.
Yep.
And they talk a little bit more about the Players Tours final, how the finishers from Player Tour events will be invited, the top finishers from previous Pro Players Tours finals, all 24 MPL members, and each Grand Prix winner. So this is the paper side of how to get to the Players Tour finals, which is essentially the Mythic Invitational for paper.
What was the Mythic Invitational?
Yeah.
But now it's called the
Well,
Players Tour.
there's still the Mythic Invitational, but it's only for Magic Online or Magic Arena now.
Sure.
The Players Tours final is basically the paper
side.
version. Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, so then on top of that, they've shown us our next promo for PTQs.
Oh, baby, we get Cryptic Command for the next one?
With my personal favorite artwork of Cryptic Command. The Iconic Masters artwork.
I like the player reward one the best.
A lot of people do, and I like it a lot.
Yeah, that's okay.
But this art's just so beautiful.
No, this one's beautiful. I really like this art. Yeah, that's awesome. That's
way better than the Lorwyn one.
That's a good giveaway, man. That's like that's on the same level of like Stoneforge and Grizzlebrand. You know, there's been some shitters like Mutavault.
Mm-hmm.
You know, those are the kind of things that like people like Terrence Vincent get excited about. But I mean, you know.
What was the past one they did? Arcbound Ravager. That one was all right.
Yeah.
It's kind of niche, you know, but it's still Cryptic Command, I guess, if you think about it.
Yeah, it's so but it's a good one. I like it.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, here they mention about like they basically break down how basically WPN stores now have a lot more reign over how they do their events.
Mm-hmm.
Like essentially, they could even do a 2-day event for a qualifier if they want. So you know your PPTQs might be 2-day events depending on if the store wants them to.
Oh yeah, that seems kind of. I don't think a store would want to do that.
I don't think so either. That
I think they would just want to run it as a 1-day.
Seems like a lot for a store.
Yeah.
But maybe depending on how many people they might have to also.
Yeah.
I don't really know how rounds work. I'm not, you know.
Yeah, that'd be pretty crazy. Well, cool.
Yeah.
So that's basically it on the Mythic Championship.
Yeah, that's
revised.
That's
right?
pretty much it. Other than they want to make sure you know that the way to get started is by downloading Arena or joining your local game store. That's how you start your journey.
Well, yeah, you're not going to get there if you don't download the software, right? Or go buy their sealed product.
Yeah.
You can't get there if you don't.
So, yeah, that's pretty much it for Magic Esports. Hopefully I did an alright job frying my brain over trying
Yeah,
to.
well, you carried the one a few times, and I blacked out. So I mean, hopefully somebody understood
I
it.
hope. They're probably not knowing us, but they'll understand us when we talk about this.
Yes, so
The,
the banned and restricted list. Goodbye, Mr. Gakarak. Goodbye, Faithless Looting, which I'm a little sad about.
Hello, Rampage and Frostdown.
Yeah, hello, Rampager.
For about a month.
Yes. I was really getting into playing the Boreos deck.
Mm-hmm.
And then, my sweet little Faithless Looting got banned. And that was the first deck in 4 years that I had made on paper, other than Burn, and the deck pretty much got banned.
How's it feel?
It feels pretty bad.
My friend Alex has been hit by like 3 different bans.
Yeah, and
so
I still feel like the deck is playable. I'm just not sure how playable it is.
Yeah, I mean, it might be like a little funsy deck, but I mean, Burn's good again.
Yeah, and Bird's fine again. So like I can go back to playing that and not feel like, oh, I can't actually even play on a Wednesday or a Friday.
You don't feel like you're just giving wins away.
Yeah, I feel pretty good about it. Hey, is there anything you want to talk about for the bannings?
Yeah, no, just the Modern's been feeling really healthy for me. I actually played a round of Standard at that Judge thing because my opponent didn't have a Modern deck, and Nick Subcheck loaned me his mono red deck, and Frostdown was pretty cool.
Okay.
The Vintage, I don't know a whole bunch about Vintage. I don't know if you do.
No one cares about Vintage.
But
it's like Pauper. But Paupers, we can actually start talking about Pauper soon.
I mean, I think people care about Vintage, or else, Eternal Weekend wouldn't be a thing, and Wizards wouldn't adjust the format.
It's very small. I mean, when you're talking about niche or, like the small amount of people that go to an event.
Vintage is like Christmas for them, dude.
Yeah, it is. It's like every holiday wrapped up in one. For Vintage
They get
players.
like 2 events a year. They get like...
Yeah.
Or they get like 3, actually. I'm sorry. They get Eternal Weekend...
Gen Con.
Okay, they get like 4 then.
Oh, okay.
Eternal Weekend, Gen Con, and then both SCG cons.
Yeah.
Because I don't think Vintage really fires at GPs, do they?
No. Maybe if they're lucky.
Maybe Vegas?
Maybe you gotta like bring all your friends with you. You got like they have this underground like chat room, like it's like Backpage but for Vintage players.
Okay.
And they're like, hey man, we're gonna be at this maybe they like buy flights for each other or something. They Bitcoin each other for flights.
Because I remember when they had it, the last GP Detroit I went to, I remember looking at the event signups, and it said Vintage on demand #1, and it never fired.
No, of course not.
They never fired a Vintage on demand.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't seem like it's very easy to fire those events. But all right, so let's get into our portion.
Let's talk about how people can make money so they can afford power one day.
Yeah, the portion that we do every week, which is finance. How'd finance go without me?
It was interesting.
Because like I mean, you're getting to be a finance guy a little bit, right?
Yeah, it's not that like you and I can talk like you especially can talk finance.
Yeah.
I can talk with you and like have a somewhat understanding.
Sure.
It's a very hard subject to talk when the other person on the other end isn't quite as.
Yeah, I felt that way. Like when I used to do the show with Chris last year, he would do all this judge stuff, and man, he was, I mean, you watched almost all the episodes, and like he can talk very.
You'd always stand up and get a beer during that. Or...
Yeah, man, and he can talk his ass off about stuff, and he's an educated guy. He's smart. He flows, and he's really easy to listen to. And
he even flowed with us pretty well when we had him. On probably about a month ago now.
Yeah, and if you don't have somebody that's educated in the subject that you're talking about, or if you don't feel comfortable with it yet, it doesn't come out great. But like I'm sure you still did good. But and I'm not.
You'll have to listen back and find out.
Yeah, I will. I'll have to go back and listen. I am gonna listen. Because I want to see.
You got a lot of listening to do.
I do. I was gone for 3 weeks, but so I'll get into finance here, and some of the stuff is pretty typical for what's going on, for what we talked about. It usually always ends up that way, that what we talk about is going to lead into what the finance is going to look like.
Moving on up.
This Dual Sit Sirens. This is a commander card, and it is commander came out in 2014, and it's just another spike.
It's Power Ranger.
Yeah, it is.
Morphin.
It's a Mighty Morphin Power Ranger, and it's just a morph card, right? And so you're going to continue to see All these morph cards spike, and if you want to play this deck, which I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that want to play this deck, Commander players.
I kind of want to play that Commander deck.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna have to get these things before they spike because they're all spiking. So
which reminds me, I'm actually thinking about building a Commander deck again soon.
Good.
I want to build around I can't remember his name, the Yawgmoth's son.
Oh, the new Yawgmoth guy?
Yeah.
Where all your black cards can be Phyrexian?
That deck sounds sweet.
Oh, dude,
I just want to cast the Dark Ritual for 2 life.
Yeah, and then... Yeah, no, I don't want to get
into...
Necropotence. We already got into all that. Yeah. We talked about that a few episodes ago when we had Steve on. So the next card, Sudden Substitution. This was a spike due to the Professor. He talked about it in one of his videos and said
top 5 best new cards for Commander 2019.
So it was number 2 on his list, and of course when you have people like the Professor, you also have people like
Joshua Warren.
Yeah. Well, not yet. We can't move markets yet, but
one day.
Someday, Richie, people will listen to us. Not yet, but they're going to listen to us eventually. But he was able to, you got your Saffron Olives, like I was saying, and then who else moves markets with just talking about it? Rudy, sure. All these guys are able to say, hey, this card's the top pick. So when other people hear it, they're like, well, my God, I better get this card. And so then all these people have to go out and buy this card. And so basically what this card did is on August 11th, this card was $19.95. It then dipped down to $2.50, $2.10, right, at its low.
About the $2 mark.
Yeah, okay, so, it even got below $2. It was like $1.85 for a little bit in August 18th.
We could have potentially found this in bulk for like a week.
Correct. And then it spiked back up after he talked about it to $18.47. So basically it's back at its pre-order price.
If you bought this Commander deck, dig it out of your bulk.
Yeah, don't leave it.
Don't leave it.
But Sudden Substitution, this is a really cool card. I mean, just looking at the card, if you're a Commander player, you will know the power level of this card by just looking at it and reading it. First of all, Split Second is just absolutely fucking broken in the game of Magic, because this allows you to do, something at instant speed. So this really this will stop. It can't be countered. So it's pretty cool card. It says it's two colorless, 2 blue. Exchange control of target non-creature spell and target creature. Then the spell's controller may choose new targets for it. And I will not let you down. I will read the flavor text. Bow before the might of wait. What? Gotta read that flavor text. It's a pretty good one.
It's pretty good.
So I would say like you kind of missed the boat on this one. This card should taper back down to probably the $10 mark, maybe even somewhere in the $7 to $8 mark. But you did miss the $1.85 boat on this.
Yeah, we'll see.
I believe so.
Yeah.
The card's very strong.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it stays around this price almost.
Yeah. And it could. That's possible. Now, of course, Stoneforge Mystic. That's a no-brainer for you guys. They had this at $70. It's not actually at $70 right now. I think you can buy copies for here. Let's go back here and take a look. You can buy copies of it for
around like 63s.
No, you can buy copies for under $60. You can get a play set of them for under $60, like $58. So a piece. So you're looking at spending about 220-ish bucks on a playset of Stoneforges. So for those of you that
what'd you trade that foil playset for?
Probably 200 and something bucks is my guess. I mean I couldn't actually tell you because like I don't really care.
Yeah.
But because I didn't at that time. It was just shifting product around. Didn't even matter to me.
But what if I want a Judge promo?
Okay, so this is something that I wanted to talk about, and the Judge promo Stoneforge Mystic. Now, this thing is actually Game Master Gaming. They've got 4 of them at $160 a piece, right? So if you want some Judge promo Stoneforge Mystics.
I'm willing to bet those are not actually Judge promos and those are GP promos.
Probably. Now, the next in line is Mage's Sanctum at $5,000, but they're pretty good guys. They have one of them, and they're going to cut you a deal on the shipping. The shipping's only $2.99, so it's a little bit more because you're going to have to certify that and send it out. So those are Mage's Sanctum, good guys. But then you have your really good guys over at Card Addicts. They've got one Judge Foil Stoneforge Mystic.
Very limited print run near mint foil.
Yes, and that is $19,999.99. But these guys are such good guys, they're not even going to make you pay for shipping. It's included.
They're just so generous.
So, if you guys need that limited, very limited print run Stoneforge Mystic and you want to get your hands on that for $20K.
Now, one thing I want to see the difference. Like, what does it look like compared to the actual...
It's the same exact thing. It's the same thing, Richie. It's the same as the Grand Prix promo. Literally the same. So, there are some people over at I'm sorry, what was it again? Because there's such a
it says the word Judge on it.
Card Addicts. Yep. Now they're smoking that meth over there. I don't think they're actually high class enough to smoke the crack, but I mean, the card looks exactly like the GP promo. So
now, can we check out their photo of it by chance?
Why do you want to?
I want to see if it actually says.
Yeah, it just says Judge.
Okay. Well, I wanted to know if they actually had a Judge one. Or if they had a GP one and we're
and put the
we're trying to get them,
Yeah, so that's pretty wild stuff. But obviously it's obvious that Stoneforge Mystic is going to be a huge spike right now. And for those of you that didn't get it, I mean, you're going to have to pay. If you want to wait until it tapers down a little bit, you might see a lot of copies come up. Astro says free shipping. Let me jump on that.
You might be able to get in for like 50.
Yeah, Astro, yeah, you might. Yeah, I don't think you want to get on that. Trust me. You could buy yourself a place. You could buy yourself a set of 9 power for one Stoneforge Mystic.
Really?
Yeah, but just hold fast if you want Stoneforge Mystic. If you can hold and wait that long, my guess is they're going to come back down to the $30 to $40 range, so you could save yourself basically a Stoneforge Mystic within the next 3 to 6 months. If you guys can wait that long. If not, bummer, sorry, you missed out. There were, there's people that squirrel away vegetables in their cabinets downstairs just in case the zombies come back. Well, guess what? The zombies came back.
Maybe you should have kept Stoneforges in your cabinet.
You should have kept the Stoneforges there. Yep. Other interesting winners they've got for this week is Ren and 6. It says he's up 11%. That is a bullshit. We checked a little bit ago, and he's at, you can buy copies for $89. So he's not really at $99 right now. He's a little bit lower. Same thing with Scalding Tarn. Scalding Tarns are not $100 bills.
They're like 90s, right?
Yeah, they're like 90s. It's the same thing with like Mox Opals, where people think like their cards are $100 bills, like the Mox Opals, the Ren and 6s, and the Scalding Tarns. They're more in that realistic range of about $10 below that. So those are copies that you can buy. Now, as for Ren and 6, I would have to say that I believe this card will start to taper a little bit and come back down, because there's going to be a lot of copies being opened. There will be a second print run for this. They've already talked about that. They just don't know when. So I would say if you need some copies, borrow them. Maybe if you have a play group, move those suckers around. Somebody wants to play Ren and 6, borrow them until you can afford them, until they come back down to earth. I don't think they can hang at $100 bill forever. Now, Liliana the Veil, she did that for a long time. She's back down to earth a little bit more.
I think as long as this card is legal in Legacy, it will probably be around $100. I think it is that strong of an effect in Legacy.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm hoping for the best, because I don't like to see, cards that you can crack out of a pack be a $100 bill. That's just not fair to the players.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to see. I'd like to see enough copies of this stuff open so that people are only having to pay, max $50 for something.
Yeah.
But hey, go buy your packs of Modern Horizons. Maybe you buy a box of it. The boxes are $180, I think, on TCG Player. I just picked up 3 boxes today. Those will be uploaded for us probably in the next couple days. I'm sure we'll have those at the cheapest on TCG, so you might be able to snipe ours for like 170 or 175 or something like that. But I would just say, if you're gonna buy yourself a couple Ren and Sixes, just buy the boxes, because then you can trade out of the stuff that you get out of it into Ren and Sixes if you need to.
Can I give you my Ren and Sixes back and get a box then?
Sure. So the Scalding Tarn and the Jace the Mind Sculptor, of course those are going to be up, because of the meta change. And like I said, there's going to be a lot of things that finance is going to be weird for a little bit.
Because it's such a big shakeup.
Yeah, there's a very big shakeup.
I'm surprised not to see a fast bond jump.
Yeah. No, there's too many of those copies.
Yeah.
Infinite copies, yeah. Now, the cheap pickups right now are First Sliver, Carnage Tyrant, and also Temporal Manipulation, but that's the older one. You
can get newer copies for cheaper than that, right?
Yeah, this, like I said, sometimes this guy doesn't have a lot to talk about. He's got to throw some stuff in there, and so this was one of them.
I think $7 for a Carnage Tyrant is pretty cheap, though.
Yeah, Carnage Tyrant's a good one to have, for your dinosaurs, your legacy dinosaur prison, if you're out there building that, like
it sees like some modern play in the sideboard.
It does.
Especially if like blue-white does pick up because of Stoneforge.
Absolutely.
It's like shove a Carnage Tyrant in their throat.
Yeah, but
block with your Batter Skull.
If you are planning on playing any slivers anytime soon, which slivers are still really cool, I would recommend picking up the First Sliver. Definitely do that. So we got through finance, and it took us 23 minutes to get to talking. So we would have been done around 1 hour, but we went a little over because I was running my mouth.
Oh yeah, but, I mean, it's not bad.
Yeah, no, it's not bad. So yeah, check us out, you guys. We are on Twitter. We're at Mom's Basement MTG, and then you can also check Richie out. He is at Richard T MTG, and he also streams every Thursday at 6 o'clock. And you guys can check him out. He's been getting some pretty good remarks on his videos lately. We've been getting a lot. Our play's been getting better. I'm really happy about that.
Our views have been up too.
Our views are up. Our tickets on Moto are up. Aaron's been crushing it.
That makes you happy, I know.
I mean, it does, man. Because eventually, like I said, it's going to progress into all this stuff just runs itself, right? Mm-hmm. I haven't had to do too much yelling at Abe. Abe, what are you doing? Get to work on this. Do this, do this. It's just like everything's been running pretty smooth lately. So we're playing Magic, 6 days a week now? Are we on 5 days a week? 6 days a week.
5.
5? Okay.
Because we don't always play on the podcast day. Yeah. And now we don't play on Wednesdays.
Yeah, so Aaron's I think he's going to be rolling out here in the next half hour, I believe. He's playing tonight. So.
I think he said 7:30.
7:30? Yeah, so we better get our fat asses off. But
No.
Yeah, so check us out playing Magic. We have this also uploaded to YouTube on, I believe, by Wednesday now. So if you guys, if you're on the audio and you end up heading over to our YouTube channel, you guys can watch us play Magic all week. And we had Teferi week last week, and we're doing our giveaways. So don't forget about that. We just we're giving away
one of each of the new Commander decks.
Yes, one of each of the new Commander decks this month, and then I think next month is going to be a box. Like I said, I picked up some boxes of Modern Horizons, so we may give away one of those. We may give away some other stuff. I'm not sure yet. So
give away a Ren and Six.
Yeah, so give us a follow on YouTube. Give us a follow on Twitch, and that's how you're entered to win into our giveaways each week. Each month.
Or by donating to our Patreon.
Also, that's another one. Yeah.
Subscribing to our Twitch.
Always. Yep. Subscribe. You can do that for free with Amazon Prime. I tell people that every time I play Magic. I'm like, just subscribe for free if you got Amazon Prime. I do. All right, you guys. We will see you next week. Thank you for listening on SoundCloud, and I appreciate you guys that are watching on YouTube in the future. And we will see y'all later.
Have a good.
Peace out.
Bye-bye. That'll be great for the audio.